So Jordan Brand just announced their 2023 spring lineup, and I've got to say, some of the sneakers that are dropping in the first half of next year are absolutely insane. I mean, come on, next year we're getting the White Cement 3s, a shoe that I've been looking forward to for the last 10 years, and we're finally getting it. So 2023 is going to be a great year for Jordan Brand, and it should be because it's the year of Michael Jordan. So if they didn't bring us some amazing sneaker releases next year, that would be a huge waste. But before we dive into the list, I want to tell you guys about something really cool that I've been working on with my business partners over at Unboxed. If you guys didn't know, I'm the part owner of the Unboxed app, an app that helps you categorize your sneakers, ensure your sneaker collection, and now swap for sneakers you like even more than the sneakers you already have. So the Unboxed app just released the brand new Swap to Cop auction, which is the most affordable way to swap to some new banger sneakers without emptying your bank. So the way the Swap to Cop auction works is that the Unboxed app puts up a pair of sneakers for auction, and you can actually offer sneakers from your own personal collection or cash in order to try and grab these sneakers for a great price. So for example, if you wanted a pair of Amamaniere 4s and you didn't have enough cash to grab this pair of sneakers, you could offer some DS pairs of sneakers from your collection plus a couple dollars on top in order to get these shoes for yourself. And the best part is, because you're not trading with someone else, it doesn't really matter what sneakers you offer, as long as they're brand new and the value of those shoes add up to close enough to the new pair of shoes that you want. Now of course you are bidding against other people, so you want to put your best foot forward and your best offer forward, but again, it could be any pair of sneakers in your collection and you're not trading with someone else, so it doesn't really matter what you offer as long as it's a good offer. And this week there are 4 auctions taking place, one for every pair of Amamaniere Jordans. So there's the Air Jordan 4s, the Air Jordan 3s, the Air Jordan 2s, and of course the Air Jordan 1s. And all these auctions are taking place this Wednesday, the 28th of December 2022 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to check out these auctions for yourself, make sure to download the Unboxed app through the link in the top of the description below and possibly cop one of your favorite pairs of sneakers with sneakers you just have laying around that you've just never worn. And also, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about the Android version of the Unboxed app. Unfortunately, it's not here yet. They're currently working with Google to make this app happen, but unfortunately the Android version of the app is just not ready yet, but I'll let you guys know as soon as it drops. So jumping right into the list, at number 10, we've got the women's Air Jordan 5 Mars for her. So at first glance, I thought that this shoe was sort of a different take on the Raging Bull 5s, but apparently it has nothing to do with the Raging Bull 5s, even though it looks very similar. Obviously, this shoe is a women's exclusive, so that's why it's called the Mars for her, but the other part of the name is Mars, and that literally is the inspiration behind this shoe. This shoe is designed to look like the planet Mars. Yes, the upper of the shoe comes in a red suede, just like the Raging Bulls. However, unlike the Raging Bulls, the red is a bit more desaturated and a bit more orange. And according to Sneaker News, it's literally designed to look like the surface of the planet Mars, which I guess it's not that stupid of an inspiration, but it's just not like exactly what I expected. And not only that, but the gradient from red to orange on the shark teeth of the shoe are supposed to look like the flames of something re-entering the atmosphere. But hey, you know what? Kudos to Jordan Brand for sticking to the theme. All that being said though, I do think it's a pretty decent looking sneaker. It's a great alternative to the Raging Bull 5s, but unfortunately it's only coming in women's sizing. So guys out there who missed out on the Raging Bull 5s and have bigger feet, you're gonna have to let this one go. That being said, for all the women out there who love the Raging Bull 5s and couldn't grab them, there you go. Something very, very close, but not exactly the same. Now, as far as the actual release date for this shoe, you really don't have that much longer to wait because the shoe is slated to drop on January 14th, of course, 2023. And according to Sneaker News, the retail price of this shoe will be an even $200. Next up at number 9, we've got the Air Jordan 5 Aqua. As you may have guessed from the name of this shoe, the Air Jordan 5 Aquas are inspired by the Air Jordan 8 Aquas. However, unlike those shoes, they don't really have any purple on them, at least not that I can see. These Aqua 5s are covered in primarily a black nubuck on the upper, accented by yellow details on the shark teeth, as well as blue hits on the outsole and on the tongue. And I've got to say, it's actually a pretty clean look. There were more than just 10 sneakers on this Jordan Brand 2023 spring lineup, and I only picked the ones that I genuinely thought were good overall shoes. And even though this is a shoe that I don't think is going to resell for anything or maybe even sell out, I think it's a very solid colorway that, if you like Air Jordan 5s, is worth picking up. Also, I feel like when it comes to most Jordans, if you make a shoe almost entirely black, it usually looks pretty good, especially if there's like only 1 or 2 accent colors on the shoe. And this is a perfect example of that. These Aqua 5s look very decent, and they're just a very simple colorway. Plus, I really dig that bright yellow on the shark teeth with the aqua blue splatter print. I feel like it's a very nice touch, and it rounds off the shoe really nicely. As far as release date, we do have a bit longer to wait for this sneaker because this shoe is dropping apparently on April 8th, 2023, with a retail price of just $200, which I know still sounds like a lot, but when compared to some of the other shoes on this list, it's a little bit cheaper. Then coming in at number 8 is the Air Jordan 2 Lucky Green. So like a lot of the other Lucky Green Air Jordan sneakers over the last year and the upcoming year, this shoe is inspired by Michael Jordan's performance against the Celtics, where he scored 63 points. And yes, as a Sixers fan, that makes me very, very happy because I hate the Celtics, even though, a lot of you guys probably like them, I still hate them. And while yes, the idea and the inspiration behind this shoe is the time that Michael Jordan absolutely destroyed the Celtics, I still don't feel right wearing a Celtics semi-inspired shoe. With all that being said though, I do think it's a very clean Air Jordan 2 colorway. Jordan Brand is obviously pushing the Jordan 2 silhouette, which I don't think is a bad thing because I feel like it's a very underrated silhouette, and this shoe does look very, very clean. It's a mostly white upper accented by an aged or cream colored midsole, as well as some bright green hits splattered throughout the shoe. It's really actually a very solid looking shoe, and it's gonna be tough for me to say no because I'm gonna see this shoe in the store or on the sneakers app, and I'm gonna have to hold myself back and just not grab it because I just don't wanna rock Celtics inspired shoes. But hey, if you don't care about the Celtics, or even you like the Celtics, which is crazy to me, you can grab this shoe on February 3rd, 2023 for a retail price of $175. Coming in at number 7 is the Air Jordan 1 True Blue. It really seems like in 2023, Jordan Brand is leaning into taking some of their more popular colorways and putting it on sneakers that don't usually come in those colorways, and this is a perfect example of that. This is an Air Jordan 1 in the True Blue colorway, when the True Blue colorway really originated from the Air Jordan 3s. However, it's not a bad look on this shoe. I will say, as a Jordan 1 fan, I'm not blown away by this colorway. I don't think it's the best colorway dropping all year. It's definitely not the best colorway dropping all year, but it's a solid look if you're planning to grab a pair of Air Jordan 1s this year and you want something to rock with your normal outfits. So the shoe comes in a white leather upper accented by bright blue, or I guess true blue hits on the overlays, as well as a sort of medium gray nubuck around the heel of the sneaker, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't love. Kind of wish that was a leather instead of a nubuck, but it is what it is. I guess nubuck is leather, but you know what I'm talking about, like tumbled leather. I would have preferred tumbled leather on the heel. And of course, the overall look of the shoe is rounded off with the white midsole and a gray outsole. As far as popular colorways that have been taken from one silhouette and put on another, these True Blue ones are definitely one of the better examples of that. It's not amazing, I don't love the shoe, and it's probably not something that I'm personally gonna pick up, but it's not a bad look. And hey, if you really like the way that the True Blue ones look, you don't have that much longer to wait because they officially drop on January 14th, 2023 for a retail price of $180, which is $10 more than Jordan 1s cost this year, but it is what it is. That's just what Jordan Brand is doing. It's inflation. And also Jordan Brand raising the prices for no reason. I don't think it was necessary, but hey, nothing I can do about it. Coming in at number 6 is the Air Jordan 4 Craft. So 2022 was kind of the year of the Air Jordan 4. We didn't have a huge amount of Jordan 4 releases, but the ones that we did have were all pretty popular. And it seems like a lot of the popularity from the Air Jordan 1 has transitioned over to the Air Jordan 4, so it makes sense that in 2023, Jordan Brand is dropping a bunch of Air Jordan 4s. And this Air Jordan 4 Craft is one of them. This shoe comes in a primarily very hairy suede gray upper, which I actually think looks pretty solid. It features a really interesting mesh treatment on the side of the shoe. It's not actually a mesh, but it's like a suede that features that mesh texture sort of debossed into it, which not sure how I feel about yet. And it also switches out the classic TPU wing detail with a suede detail, which I actually don't mind, and I feel like it makes the shoe feel a little bit more premium. The main accent color on the shoe is sort of a washed out yellow, which I actually don't mind, and I do think it accents the gray on the upper of the shoe really nicely. It's like almost a cool gray 4, except the gray is a much lighter shade than the cool gray 4s, and instead of coming in a nubuck, it comes in a very hairy suede. It's not a bad look, I don't mind it. The only thing I don't really like is that mesh detail that I talked about earlier. I feel like that's a little bit weird, but it really does differentiate the shoe from the cool grays, so that's probably one of the reasons why they did that. And actually, I'm just reading now that the Air Jordan 4 Craft is not its official name, that's the name of the silhouette. This is the Air Jordan 4 SE Craft Photon Dust. That's the name of the colorway. So apparently, we'll be getting more Air Jordan 4 Crafts in the near future, which I don't know if I'm excited about or not. So there you go. I'm not totally sure how I feel about the sort of fake cobbled together look, like the fake handmade look. It's made to look like someone, cobbled together a shoe with some materials that they had laying around, but all the lines are just too perfect. Everything about the shoe is just too nicely put together, so some of the details that make it look a little bit more crafty than others really kind of put me off a little bit. So it's probably not a shoe I'm gonna grab, but it doesn't mean it's a bad shoe, and if you like it, that's totally fine. And hey, if you do like it, you don't have that much longer to wait because the shoe apparently drops on February 11th for $210. Next up at number 5 is the Air Jordan 2 Craft. So this shoe, obviously, as the name would suggest, is part of Jordan Brand's Craft series. Again, a series which is designed to look like it's handmade shoes that are cobbled together from random materials around, wherever someone's cobbling shoes together. And honestly, I think this shoe does look better than the Air Jordan 4s. That's why it's higher on the list, even though I know this shoe is going to be less popular than the Air Jordan 4s. I just think it's a better better looking shoe personally because I like the difference in color used on this shoe and the difference in materials used on this shoe. This Air Jordan 2 comes in sort of an off-white colored leather upper, accented by sort of a brownish tan on the wing portion of the shoe, as well as brown hits around the upper of the sneaker, and of course a cream colored midsole. And even though the look of this shoe isn't anything that crazy or even that exciting, I do think it's a really nice solid Air Jordan 2 colorway. It's not as honestly contrived as the Air Jordan 4 was, at least in terms of the theming, and overall I think it's a pretty clean look that's going to be very easy to rock. And if you're looking for a solid pair of Air Jordan 2s and you missed out on the OGs, or you don't want to grab the lucky greens, this is not a bad way to go. Now again, I don't think this shoe will be as popular as the Air Jordan 4s. I actually think there will be less pairs of these made because Jordan Brand doesn't expect them to be as popular as the Air Jordan 4s, but I do think it's a solid release, and it's one that you should look into if you like this sneaker. And apparently the Jordan 2 Crafts drop officially on January 26th for a retail price of $185. Next up at number 4 is the Air Jordan 4 Seafoam. So this shoe shares a lot with the Air Jordan 4 Fire Reds. Obviously the upper of the shoe comes in a white leather, the accent details of the shoe come in black. However, instead of having red on the midsole of the shoe and on other details of the shoe, you've got sort of a seafoam green. And I do have to say, I kind of dig the way this shoe looks. I think it looks really, really clean. Now, unfortunately, it does look like this shoe could be a women's exclusive, which means that guys with larger feet will not be able to grab it, which really sucks when the colorway looks this good, but you know, it's still a fire colorway that guys like myself with size 9 feet or maybe even size 10 feet could still pick up and still enjoy. I think it's a great colorway and one that I might actually grab. Now, of course, because this is not an OG colorway of the Air Jordan 4s, it will not feature the Nike Air branding on the heel. Instead, you've got the Jumpman, but it's still an incredibly clean looking sneaker. I think it's a simple and good looking Air Jordan 4. The green just adds a really nice sort of subtle, almost like spring feel to the sneaker, because green is a pretty spring color, at least in my opinion. And I think this shoe does have the potential to be one of the best Jordan releases of the entire year. Maybe not like the top 5, well, it is the top 5 in this list, but this is only the spring list, but maybe a solid top 10 or top 15, because we're gonna get like 50 pairs of Jordans this year, and I think this is probably one of the best. And according to Sneaker News, this shoe drops officially on February 24th, 2023 for a retail price of $200. Coming in at number 3 are the Air Jordan 13 Playoffs. This is one of those classic Air Jordan 13 sneakers that we haven't had for a very long time. In fact, the last time that this shoe retroed was back in 2011. And that actually seems to be the case for the other 2 shoes coming up on the list. These are great shoes that we haven't had back in a really long time. And it makes sense that we're getting them back now in 2023 because it's the year of Michael Jordan. So to fill you all in on the history of this shoe first debuted 24 years ago during All-Star Weekend when Michael Jordan wore these. And of course, it makes sense that Jordan Brand is bringing these shoes back during All-Star Weekend 2023 because this is one of those sneakers that I think a lot of people really associate with that event. As you can see from these images, the shoe comes in a primarily black makeup with leather covering most of the upper, but of course you also have some red and yellow details throughout the sneaker and that holographic hit on the lateral side of the heel. It's a super clean look. It's one of the cleanest Air Jordan 13s out there, and while personally I think I prefer the Bred 13s, this is a shoe that I will definitely try and grab, and I think it shouldn't be too hard to grab, but it's not going to be that easy because, you know, it's still one of the most popular Air Jordan 13s of all time. The good news is though, if you're like me and you're trying to grab one of these playoff 13s, they officially release on February 18th for a retail price of $210. Coming in at the number 2 spot is the Air Jordan 1 85 black and white. So the Air Jordan 1 is my favorite sneaker silhouette of all time. So when Jordan Brand back in 2020 started releasing shoes that are based off of the original Air Jordan 1 from 1985, meaning that the cut of the shoe is exactly the same as the original Air Jordan 1s, and the shape of the shoe and of course the midsole and all that sort of good stuff is the same as the original, I had to grab a couple pairs. And this is another one of these sneakers which we haven't been getting a lot of, and it's kind of a shame that we haven't been getting a lot of these sneakers because I feel like the Jordan 1 85s are the best Jordan 1s that we've gotten in a really long time. I really wish the Chicago Lost and Founds were 85 versions of the shoe rather than, I guess, just slightly different versions of the standard Air Jordan 1s. I'm not exactly sure how to categorize the Lost and Founds because they're not the same shape as the 85s, but they're also not exactly the same shape as standard recent Air Jordan 1s. So I'm not sure exactly what that shoe was. But either way, I wish that all of the Jordan 1 releases that we've been getting were 85 versions of the shoe because it's just the best version of the Air Jordan 1 out there. And so when I heard that we were getting the black and white Air Jordan 1 back, a shoe that we have not had back in so long, I was really excited to hear that it was coming back as an Air Jordan 1 85. Now style-wise, this shoe is not that exciting. It's literally a black and white Jordan 1. It's about as simple as a Jordan 1 can get. It's almost like the Panda Jordan 1s. However, unlike the Pandas, it's a much nicer quality shoe. And honestly, in 2023, I'm not seeing a lot of Jordan 1s that I really want to go out to the store and grab, other than this one. This is the one Jordan 1 that I'm like, I have to have that shoe. I'll pay resale for that shoe, and I'll be rocking this shoe all the time because it's such an easy colorway to wear. Not only that, if you didn't know, the black and white colorway is an OG Air Jordan 1 colorway, unlike some of the other 85 versions of the shoe that we've been getting. So it's nice to have a pair that might be the start of something special, like Jordan Brand releasing OG colorways of the Air Jordan 1 on the Jordan 1 85 silhouette. Who knows, we'll have to wait and see, but this is definitely a solid release and one that I am absolutely going for. Now, as far as release information, this black and white Air Jordan 1 85 should be releasing on February 15th for an annoyingly high retail price of $200. Coming in at number 1 is the Air Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. This shoe, in my opinion, could be sneaker of the year, and I know it's way early to be saying anything like that, but I just did my full review on this shoe. If you guys want to check it out, there will be a link at the top of the screen, and I really think that this is one of the best Jordans that's going to release in all of 2023. And actually, if you guys want to grab a pair of these right now, I've made sure to leave a YouTube pop-up right there on your screen where you can grab this shoe or any of the other Jordans that we talked about in today's video. In my opinion, there are so many reasons to love this shoe and consider it one of the best releases of 2023 at the end of December 2022. This is an OG colorway on one of the most popular silhouettes of all time, the Air Jordan 3, the shoe that kept Michael Jordan with Jordan Brand, or with Nike at the time. I mean, so much history has been made in this shoe. This is a shoe that Michael Jordan made that insane free throw line dunk in. The White Cement 3 is one of the best colorways on the best silhouettes of all time, and I really don't see many people denying that. The Air Jordan 3 is truly an iconic sneaker, and so to have this shoe come back in 2023 after we haven't had an official White Cement 3 since 2011, it's great. I'm so excited about that. I feel like this shoe is long overdue. Now, I will say that there were some changes made to this shoe that, while I don't dislike them, I actually kind of like them aesthetically. I feel like we could have done without them, and those changes were the reimagined details on the shoe. So first off, the shoe is cut like the original Air Jordan 3, which I think is a good thing. However, Jordan Brand did decide to make the midsole and some of the eyelet details on the shoe look aged by making them a cream color instead of a white. And not only that, they decided to artificially distress the box, which is not that big of a deal. Again, it might piss some people off, but I don't think it takes away from the shoe that much, especially because you're never really gonna see the box. But overall, I understand what they were doing. I just think that it wasn't completely necessary. That being said, this is an incredible sneaker. I'm so happy to have this shoe back. And whenever I can grab a pair of these in my size, I will absolutely be doing that because this is a size 10.5. And it fits, but not well. So if you're like me and you're trying to grab a pair of the Air Jordan 3 White Cements, like I think most Jordan fans out there and sneakerheads out there will be doing, this shoe officially releases on March 11th for a retail price of $210. But that pretty much wraps up the video for today. Make sure to let me know your picks for your favorite Jordan releases of spring 2023 in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.